Wait no longer. Greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. I am your host, Joseph. It is here on this very podcast where each and every Thursday, I, your host, Joseph, and alongside my best friend, Kyle, talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation. If you like this show, please hit us with a 5-star review on iTunes. It really does help us out. And if you really like us, then please drop $1 our way at patreon.com/badbit. But with all that said, with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host, whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson, how are you, sir?
Doing pretty fantastic. I am excited to be traveling up the East Coast tomorrow, separately from you. Yeah. But we're going to be in Boston tomorrow night. I get to hug you and hang out and play some sweet indie games for PAX East.
Dude, I know. We're going into ground zero. We're bracing ourselves into the coronavirus. We go. Let's do it. We're recording a day early. Sony. Yeah, take that, Sony. We're recording a day early. Of course, we're recording on Tuesday night as of recording instead of our normal Wednesday. And thank you, everybody who gave us a bunch of questions this week. But before we get into all of that, we got to welcome our special guest, Enrique, from the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Enrique, how are you, my man?
Woo! I'm doing very well, gentlemen. I'm just really excited to be on the podcast. Thank you for the invite. You know, we had Mr. Babbitt on last week, and that was an awesome podcast. So just a pleasure to be on here. Yeah. Can't wait to get into these topics tonight and talk some video games.
Oh my God. First and foremost, I got into the YouTube podcasting game, and I love how it's so different from iTunes or the normal audio podcast that I'm used to, because YouTube personalities just add that shock jock vibe, but you also put in another element of factual, calm, and stable rationale mind. So I love your show. Where can people find it? What do you guys and gals talk about over there?
All right. So, it's funny you mentioned reasonable rationale podcast, because I don't want to say there's not a lot of those podcasts out there, but I see a lot of podcasts that
clickbait,
probably more kind of feed the fanboy stuff.
Yeah.
And when I started BRAP, I didn't want to. That wasn't what I didn't start BRAP for that. I didn't want to do an Xbox centric podcast. I didn't want to do a PlayStation centric podcast because I play on all platforms.
Yeah.
So it naturally for me, it was just hey, you know what? I'm going to make a podcast set where we talk about games. We give our perspective on things, and we try to come at it from a rational point of view.
Yep.
As opposed to this emotionally charged, I'm going to, love my plastic and no one better insult my piece of plastic or else I'm coming after you. No, that's nonsense. And, it helped us even as a very, we don't have the most subscribers, we have about 1,500 subs, but even then we've had industry guests on, we had David Jaffe on GN. We had Greg Kasavin from Supergiant Games.
Nice.
Which and actually I know him from my days as a GameSpot moderator in their forums when he was writing reviews and editor-in-chief for them. We've had Christian Allen on. He actually is a developer, has worked on games like Ghost Recon. I believe he worked on Halo 3, I think it was.
Yes.
Or ODST, I don't remember, but he worked on one of the Halo games. But yeah, so it's just we wanted to offer something different than Xbox sucks and PlayStation sucks, because there's so much of that out there.
There's crazy. So much noise. There's so much noise, and that's why when we made the trophy room, one of the golden rules right off the bat was, listen, we love all the consoles. That's just right off the bat. Kyle now officially owns an Xbox. I own a Switch. We play everything. We just love PlayStation a little bit more, and we're trying to come at it rationally. And then at the same exact time, if you do love something, you have to be critical of those things when they make a mistake. Like last year when PlayStation with the whole crossplay thing, man, we went at them for weeks, and they finally buckled. And that's what we try to do, is try to, we bring our authentic selves, which is, we're gamers first, and we're the lover of games, and that's what the trophy room really is all about. With that, guys, gang, listen, we do have a lot to talk about, okay? We're going to talk about all the cancellations over at PAX East, because there's more of them. We're going to talk about GDC cancellations. We're going to talk about the Xbox Series X specs and what that means for the future of PlayStation and how they market the PlayStation 5. We're going to talk about the Resident Evil 3 demo that's on the way. Before we get into all of that, of course, we start the show with what we've been playing. Kyle, good sir, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so this is going to come to a shock for many of you, and I know Joe, when I hopped on this call before you joined in, Enrique, he was like, "I have serious questions for you, Kyle." I looked over at my PS4 shelf. I was like, "Ooh, that game I have not put in my PlayStation since buying it, because it was talked about how bad it was, and it was such a letdown." That game was Mass Effect Andromeda. I decided to finally see what all the hubbub is about, and I get it. I understand what the hubbub is about. It's it's a pretty big letdown as a big Mass Effect fan. It just I miss the characters from the original trilogy pretty bad. I loved all the new characters of each species, like the Solarians and the Krogans that are in this game are pretty cool in themselves, but there's just something special about the Shepard trilogy that there's just something missing, and it doesn't look exactly like a PS4 Xbox One era game. It kind of feels like it's still
how far in are you?
Oh man, I played for probably 5 hours straight the other day.
Oh man, that's 5 more hours than I did. I got stuck in a Sudoku puzzle. I was just like, I don't want to play Sudoku. I want to play Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's parts of it are interesting. I kind of like the whole. It happens very early on, so I mean it's an old game too. So spoilers if you're worried about Mass Effect Andromeda.
Go for it.
Your father dies on the first pathfinding mission you go on, and he gives you the mantle of Pathfinder, and now you need to find the Golden World, where everyone that's from Earth and the Milky Way galaxy is coming to find a new planet to inhabit before their planet dies. And so I kind of like that whole thing where father's giving the mantle over to I'm playing as Sarah Ryder. It's always FemChef in Mass Effect, like the female protagonist for me, and I'm excited to see where she goes in the story, and I hope that some of the companions get a little bit better. Well, I mean, if they're easy on the eyes, that's a plus. But it's
looking at you, any Krogan out there.
Hey, and so it's Mass Effect, it's cool sci-fi stuff, but it's just, to me, it seems stuck in old BioWare. It doesn't feel like a huge step forward like it should have been.
To me, it kind of just felt like a fanfic. It didn't. There was something missing in that game, and I couldn't put my finger on it. But I also played it. I haven't played it since launch. I know they smoothed out a lot of the bugs and a lot of the facial animations. But that was one of my biggest critiques. Is it kind of felt empty. It just didn't. It didn't feel Mass Effect-ish.
The first planet after that first mission that you go on, the world, the planet itself is so empty. It's like a desert world, and you're just running, and there's just some rocks and
it's just
some spiders over here. It does not feel lived in. It doesn't feel like it's
Kyle, I'm gonna cut you off because I hate this game. I'm sorry. Everybody out there who loves it. Listen, you're allowed to love it. You're allowed to love it, but not me. Brap, what have you been playing real quick, my man?
It's interesting. I go through these periods where I don't know. I find myself playing games that I don't think I would ever enjoy playing. I actually just finished A Plague's Tale, which was an awesome game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved a lot of the stealth elements in the game. I thought it had a good, compelling story. The game kept me engaged.
How did you feel about the ending? Because I played it and I loved most of it, but towards the ending, like it took away the stealth elements to me, or de-emphasized them, and then just was just like, hey, guess what? God mode, and you just started like just wreaking havoc. To me, I didn't like that. I liked feeling always vulnerable.
Yes, that's actually a great point. That sense of vulnerability is kind of because it kept you on your toes.
Yep.
And like at the end, I don't want to spoil it, but at the end, the last battle, it's kind of like it's none of that. And then
it's
when
weird.
and then when you're reunited with your brother, and it's like you say, it's like God mode. It's like, I've arrived, and it's like, well, okay.
Yeah. There was just something about the combat itself when it tried to emphasize the combat that it didn't jive with me towards the end, but.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see that. And, the ending was kind of like also, it was a little, I don't know.
Anticlimactic, maybe?
Yeah. It was kind of like, hey, we're back together. Happy family. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it was very anticlimactic. That would be the only real criticism I have of the game. But overall, I thought it was a fantastic game.
Oh yeah, it was up there. It won a lot of awards in the Trophy Room Awards at the end of the year. Yeah, I really enjoyed that game. Again, for the most part. For me, I'm back playing Apex Legends, baby. Let me tell you something. Nice. It doesn't matter what platform I'm on. If I'm on Xbox,
sniping.
Oh yeah, was that an impressive shot?
I gotta say that was pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, my friend Luke Lore, he was just like, I wish I can get the shots you can get. And I'm just like, I know. One day you'll learn. One day you'll learn from the best. Let me tell you something. There is something with this newest season that has just reinvigorated the game for me, my love, my passion for it. Last night was possibly one of the best gaming sessions I had alone, where my team, all of them died. I'm alone. And I literally took on the final 4 teams by myself. And I got that champion. And I never felt more like my heart was racing, like beating out of my chest. Like it felt so great to finally come out on that win. And just playing it with people like Ray Martinez, who is a supporter of the show. That's what makes it just so freaking great. It's having those conversations with fans, with friends, with everybody. It's fantastic. So that's what I've been addicted to over the past week. With that, guys,
I've seen the clips on Twitter.
Impressive.
What point do you leave us all behind? You just go pro?
Honestly, I've been thinking about it
every day.
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah,
yeah, and then get kicked out of the EA Play, whatever that thing is. Anyway, with that, we got a lot to talk about, boys. But before we do, I just want to give a big thank you to everyone that got us over to PAX East. Because of our support, or your support, over at patreon.com/badbit, we are going to PAX East. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank our Silver Plus members, Daniel Welsh, Ray Martinez, JB, the Purple Monkey himself. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. And again, we're going to have our next goal that we're going to want to hit. It's going to be big and exciting. So over there, patreon.com/badbit.
We're also 6 patrons away from us streaming the Unicorn Princess.
Oh yeah. And big shout out to Trevor Starkey and nice. Let me just get Trevor Starkey and Isaiah Osuna, our newest patrons. Thank you both so freaking much. So with that, Kyle, it's time to square up the news.
The first news comes from Brianna Reeves over at PlayStation Lifestyle. EA cancels GDC 2020 plans due to coronavirus. Attendance at other industry events to be limited. Though news initially broke that EA would limit its attendance at the event in March, the publisher has since backed out entirely. As with other companies that have axed GDC plans, EA's decision is based on concerns over the continuous spread of coronavirus. EA's participation elsewhere will also be affected, with the publisher noting an intention of, quote, limiting attendance to other events, end quote. News of EA's GDC withdrawal originally surfaced thanks to a LinkedIn post from Alex Scherer, ad product development specialist at EA. At the time, Scherer reportedly received an internal message stating the publisher would only limit its GDC presence. EA joins a handful of other companies to back out of this year's GDC, which begins on March 16th. Yesterday, Kojima Production announced it would no longer attend the San Francisco-based event. Both Sony and Facebook canceled their respective GDC plans late last week.
Now, the news broke that Sony and Facebook weren't going to GDC. Now it's EA not going to GDC or Kojima Productions, which sucks because Kojima was supposed to be like the headliner speech at the event. This is kind of now getting concerning, right? Like, it's now... last week we were all talking about, is this for some reason PlayStation is afraid of Xbox and that's why they're not coming out to this event. And it goes to show what we were saying last week was totally right, which is, look, this is an international event. People are, kind of quarantined or not allowed to go on air flights or take trips. I know Sony is like on a complete lockdown because they're a Japanese-based company that nobody can leave Japan. That's what's going on right now. So my first thought goes to you, Enrique, because we were talking a little bit on your podcast about this. What are your thoughts about everybody canceling GDC and even PAX East for that matter?
Honestly, I'm not even surprised that we've seen more cancellations. I mean, we've seen the virus, have a tremendous impact on business decisions. When you look at things like the Mobile World Conference, which was completely, postponed because of the virus. I'm not surprised by this, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear more things coming out of GDC, more companies, not attending. We know Capcom's not going to be, I think, at PAX East now.
Yep. Square Enix is pulling back events that their Japanese devs were going to be at, and now they're no longer going to be there. Like, it's getting serious. And
it is, yeah. We talked about this last week on BRAP. I mean, I saw people saying, this thing isn't that big of a deal. The flu killed more people in 2017, 2018. I'm like, well, that's not really the point.
Right.
The
point is to keep people safe.
Yeah, you stay ahead of this by, being proactive. You don't take this in a reactive way where you wait for the virus to just spread, within communities and then say, okay, well, now we're going to cancel stuff. No, that's the last thing you want to happen because one, there's no virus. I mean, there's no vaccine for this.
Yeah.
And so you also want to make sure that your medical facilities are prepared in the event that there's, widespread pandemic in the U.S. And other countries around the world. You want to make sure that, you're prepared. But this whole idea that, it's not that big of a deal because more people have died from the flu, I think that's a little bit misguided.
It's misguided, and I think it comes out of a place of to be completely honest, just pure ignorance, right? Like
absolutely,
I saw a lot of people going like, "Oh, they just don't want to spend money on this event." I'm like, they already paid for that space. It's not refundable.
I actually heard someone say they did this as a cost-cutting move.
It's like,
and
no.
I'm telling you, my mouth just dropped. I'm like, where are people coming with this? Like I just don't understand. Like, where? I don't.
Take a breath, Brad. Take a breath.
Yeah, I know. I gotta take a breath. I will never understand that mindset. Like,
no.
You ever seen that movie, Idiocracy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have this fear that we're heading down that path.
Yeah.
When I start seeing Brondo commercials on TV, guys, I don't know. It's got electrolytes.
Oh God, Kyle, what are your thoughts on all this? Everybody backing out. What are your first immediate thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's the safety of everyone involved is of the utmost importance. I can't. It really hurts my brain thinking that people are mad at that. Right there, it's like the sense of entitlement thing, and like, what the best thing to do to fight this virus is just to not get sick and stay safe.
Yeah,
like that's the best way to fight it, and that's what these companies are doing.
Yeah, and the one thing too that I heard about this virus is like 80% of the time you don't even know you have it until like the symptoms just hit you like a ton of bricks. So you don't even know, and by the time you know, it's like too late. And again, listen.
And then all the amount of people you come in contact with, it's just like, it's bad.
And even the CDC has come out and said, guys, shit's about to get real here. So like when they didn't come out with an official memo, some guy in a suit and tie didn't go, yeah, hey gang, shit's about to get, off the hook. It's gonna be off the chain with this virus. But like, yeah, like if the CDC is telling you, listen, things are about to get real, it's gonna get out of hand, you want to take safety precautions. But with that said, this is another event that we're not going to see PlayStation with PAX East as well. We're having Xbox come out with their own blog posts, with their own articles, talking about the power of the console. This leads into our good friend of the show, Luke, who loves lore, and he writes in, great guest, thank you. I'm of the mind that as soon as Sony announces everything, we'll forget the wait and be excited accordingly. This happened with the Switch. Do you think the withdrawals from shows and the lack of news is hurting them truly? I don't. Do we really think that the lack of news is hurting them? I'll go with you, Kyle. Because all we got is a logo. No?
That's, backspace 4, type in 5. We're good. I don't think it's hurting them at all. I think in other ways it's kind of helping. It's at the forefront of everyone's mind. Like, hey, Xbox is showing this stuff.
Yeah.
Where's Sony?
I mean, yeah.
Why are they being silent? Like, I feel like more people are talking about the PlayStation 5 in, like, the PlayStation circles just because nothing has been shown. And it becomes into more of, like, well, are they working on this secret thing? Like, what are they holding back that they don't want to announce now? Like, I think yes, am I bummed I don't know what it's about? Sure. But am I more excited about what the future of this thing is? Absolutely.
I mean, that's some truth there. I mean, Rob wrote into the show, he's like, hey, is this actually fake PR that this is a mystery for so long? To me, I could understand. I'm getting antsy. I'm like, okay, just give me something here at this point. Do you think, Kyle, it's going to be like a state of play? That it's not going to be a live show? That at least announces it.
See, I'm leaning more towards like just a blog post. Just be like, hey, here's the PlayStation 5.
We got 2 of them. I want to see something.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also would like to see it, but my gut is telling me it's just another blog post. And maybe we won't see it in the blog post. But we'll see it on a state of play, but all the details about what the system will do will be in like a blog post.
Like, I think it's going to be like a state of play. It's going to be like fast snippets, and then you're going to be like more news to come at PlayStation Experience in May or something like that. Like that's what it's going to end up being. Brap, what do you think, man? Do you think we're all going to forget this once the PlayStation 5 news drops, or do you think that they're holding back because they are scared that the Xbox Series X is just so much more powerful?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I see that narrative out there, and that's so far from the truth. Look, I mean, once Sony comes out and says, "Hey, here's the PlayStation 5 and all its glory," people are going to forget. Literally, all they have to do is say, "Here's what the console looks like."
Yep.
And here's a game that you can only play on the PlayStation 5. They'll drop some fancy trailer.
Yeah.
People will be like, "Oh my God, did you see that trailer? Looked amazing." Right?
Yeah. Look at Nathan Drake's pectorals. Like it's
like,
nuts.
oh, did you see the next gen Nathan Drake, bicep? Looks amazing.
Ratchet's hair is so soft and luxurious.
Yeah, right. Yeah, look at Ratchet's hair.
Everybody's gonna forget about it, and I think
absolutely
we're antsy because we don't know when the news happens. And I'm predicting this right now. First, we're going to get excited. Then there's going to be a digital foundry that's going to explain what the PlayStation 5 is. And then there's going to be another digital foundry video breaking down between what's more powerful, the PS5 or the Series X. That's what it's going to pretty much come down to at this point. And then the fanboys are going to argue which one's better. And at the end of the day, they're both going to come out. They're both going to be very successful.
You know what I'm not
right now.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm not looking forward to?
What's that?
I'm not looking forward to going on YouTube and at IGN and seeing the graphic comparison of Xbox Series X and PS5. For so long they just look the same to me from PS4 and Xbox One. Yeah. Like I don't want to see comparisons. I hope they don't go back into that because it's so stupid.
They're totally going to do it.
I know they are.
Hey, give us 5 minutes because we're about to do it. Kyle, what's the next story on the list?
Before we move on,
Yes.
I can't get over the image of this hip CDC guy coming out and just dabbing and talking about the coronavirus. Like, hey, you know what's going to be lit? Your temperature. So make sure you take Advil and stay hydrated, stay indoors.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
NyQuil PM. All right. Stay indoors. Don't touch
Exactly.
anybody.
This next news story comes from our very own intern, Phil Spencer from Xbox.com. What you can expect from the next generation of gaming. Next generation custom processor, AMD Zen 2 processor, something we already knew.
Yep.
12 teraflops confirmed. A variable rate shading.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yes.
Variable rate shading. This is actually pretty cool. What it'll do is while you're moving, right, whatever you're looking at is going to be nice and crisp. What you're not going to notice is that the environment around you is going to dim pixels around you so that you're getting the highest frame rate you can, and it's going to look as crisp as possible. Continue.
Hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing.
Already knew that.
SSD storage.
Yep.
Quick resume multiple games at once.
Don't know how many.
Dynamic latency input, or DLI. It eliminates latency between controller to TV and HDMI 2.1, eliminating latency from TV to box. Supports 4K to 8K and upwards to 120 frames per second. Backwards compatibility, Game Pass, and smart delivery. This technology empowers you to buy a game once and know that whether you're playing it on Xbox One or Xbox Series X, you're getting the right version of that game on whatever Xbox you're playing on. We're making the commitment to use smart delivery on all our exclusive Xbox Game Studios titles, including Halo Infinite. This technology is available for all developers and publishers, and they can choose to use it for titles that will release on Xbox One first and come to Xbox Series X later.
Now that's pretty dope. And a lot of people say we have no idea what the PlayStation 5 is, right? Xbox is coming out in front. It's got this whole messaging. It's the most powerful console. Probably will be the most powerful console. We don't know anything about the PlayStation 5. What if I told you you're semi-correct, put an asterisk on it, because we know a lot more than what the narrative that's being pushed out is. So I made a list, right, of things that we know that Series X is capable of and the things that we know the PS5 is capable of. So first things first, let's talk about that Zen processor. The Xbox Series X does have a Zen 2 processor, and so does the PlayStation 5. We just don't know where it's clocked at, how the size of it. We don't know how capable it is, but we know it is the same in the same family. Variable rate shading, yes, on the Xbox. We don't know about that on the PlayStation. Ray tracing, SSD, and quick resume, that's on both consoles. Dynamic latency is on the Xbox. We don't know anything about the PS5. 4K and 8K, 60 FPS to 120 FPS is a yes on the Xbox, and yes, but to which extent in terms of frame rate will we get 120? We don't know, but we know that the PlayStation 5 will do 4K and 8K respectively. So it's kind of in that one. Backwards compatibility, yes on the X, and yes on the PlayStation 5. It's just right now we just know it's PSVR and PS4 games that are backwards compatible. And then smart delivery. Yes on Xbox. We don't know yet on PlayStation. So with that, Kyle.
But what about the flops?
What about the flops?
The flops. It's the most important part.
It is.
I know, man. That's what people on the internet are telling me.
Yeah, I mean, Brap, you're itching here. Well, did any of this get your blood racing? Because from what the specs have shown through the Digital Foundry breakdown, is that this console is more capable than a RTX, 2800 Ti.
2080.
Yeah, 2080.
Paper, yeah.
Yeah, on paper. Yeah. So does this get you going, okay, well, this is pretty damn rad. What's your feeling?
Well, with the teraflops thing, I knew about that. That was actually confirmed to me by a developer. So I knew that going already. And we talked about this on BRAP, and I think on some other podcasts I'd mentioned, and even in, I would have PlayStation fanboys say, oh, it's not 12 ter. I'm like, no, it is 12 teraflops. I don't have any reason to believe that this developer would lie to me. I know they're working on games right now. So, but anyhow, I mean, some of the stuff, obviously it's cool. I mean, this is a powerful console. There's no if, ands, or buts behind that. I mean, it's got some great features. I'm excited about, the was it the variable? I forget what you call it. The
rate
rate
shading.
shading.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's an awesome feature. Smart delivery is really cool. I'm glad that Microsoft's doing that. Actually, that's one thing I think Sony does need to incorporate with the PS5.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about
I
that
think
in
they
a second.
definitely need to do that, because if they don't, I think Microsoft markets the hell out of that smart delivery feature. And why wouldn't they? I think it's a very consumer friendly thing. And I think PlayStation 5, if you're releasing The Last of Us 2, so close to the release of the PlayStation 5, let people take that disc that they bought for PlayStation 4
and have a carryover,
be playable on the PS5. That's just
not to
why
mention
not,
Ghosts
right?
too.
Yeah, your competition's doing it. You should do it. But we know how those things go sometimes. I will say this, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. Yeah. Well, I kind of do, actually.
Let's go down it, dude. Let's go down it. Let's see where it leads.
All the specs are great. Look, I'm not saying that you should not be excited. As a gamer, I'm excited by the technology. I think AMD is very forward thinking with this technology, putting it in consoles. It reminds me kind of what they did with the 360 when the 360 came out. It was like more powerful than PCs for like a few months when that came out.
Yeah.
But again, that same thing, same mindset with AMD, very forward thinking hardware. And I'm excited about that. Like, that's cool. Like, this is going to be really cool. I'm going to start seeing some things that I've seen on my PC that I have right now on consoles, which is, like ray tracing, for example, right? We're going to start seeing these, multi-core CPUs, because the CPUs were, let's face it, these CPUs are terrible in the current gen consoles. Not very good CPUs at all. But that being said, and I'm not trying to pick on Xbox fans, but I've been on the Xbox platform, I say 20 years, and I rounded up,
18 years. Been a minute. It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Your experience can drive a car.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's funny. I had the privilege of beta testing Xbox Live. Experienced the Halo effect when that launched on the original Xbox.
Same here.
All these features are wonderful, but I keep telling folks, hey, yes, be excited for those things, but more importantly than anything else is content.
Right.
Like, I don't need Microsoft to win the power narrative. I need them to step up their game in terms of their output of quality first-party titles. Now, I said this on Twitter, and people went crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, quality subjective.
But I mean, there is a narrative that, like, let's all be real here. Before Game Pass, when we were counting sales, Halo 5 didn't do numbers. Gears 4 didn't do numbers, and they didn't pan out critically or commercially that they wanted to, comparatively to a Horizon Zero Dawn, which was, and I still think it is, their highest selling original IP on that console. Like, it didn't sell like God of War, it didn't sell like Spider-Man or The Last of Us, and that narrative kind of builds. And within perception, there's truth. If the masses think this way, and it shows, with the PlayStation 4 sales, then there has to be some validity to that statement, whether you love Halo or not,
Absolutely. And, but this is the kind of thing that I'm not, and so I always have to tell folks, like, I'm not saying the Xbox sucks. It's ridiculous that I have to say that, but I've been doing this for 40 years, gaming. I've seen Nintendo consistently put out games where we're like, oh my God. Yeah. Like Breath of the Wild. I mean, playing Breath of the Wild
is amazing. Like, it's breathtaking. And that's a game that isn't, it's not in 4K. It's not even in 60 FPS. Sometimes it's barely at 15 FPS, but we still love it. Kyle, what do you think about all this hoopla about this console? Are you excited for it? What is the thing that has you the most hyped for it?
I mean, I'm just excited we're getting new consoles. I think just being in the year where we're getting new home consoles to put on our shelves and see where it's going to take gaming into the future is exciting. And I agree with Enrique. Like, games for me come first and foremost. I've said this on this show so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care what it does. Can I still play games? Great. That's fine.
Yeah.
But like as far as like the features from the Series X, I really love the smart delivery. I think that is so smart. I think that is genius. It's like just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because like thinking of like from the PS3 jump to PS4 and 360 to Xbox One, where there was like a couple weeks where some games came out on PS3 and then were launched on PS4,
and you had to upgrade it for like $10.
You had to upgrade exactly. Like, it just, why not just have it just work?
Yeah.
Like,
and
I think that's genius.
We'll talk about that in just a second, but before we do, Marcus O'Neill writes in and he asks, it feels like Sony's strategy for the PlayStation 5 has put them in a position where they can only react to what Xbox does rather than control their own narrative. Is there anything they can do right now to put Xbox back at their heels? To me, how I read this is, no matter what, you're going to have that narrative anyway of PlayStation versus Xbox. No matter who is saying what first, one is constantly reacting to the other. So I don't think that there is there's no way to put Xbox on their heels unless Xbox pulls an Xbox One again, where they fumble with their messaging. Here is an Xbox that is way more coherent with their messaging. They are more bullish on the content that they have out right now. Like, though we were critical just a second ago about the content that they currently have with their lineup, we can't ignore the Obsidian and the Ninja Theory games. Like Hellblade 2 looks fucking dope. Project Mara looks fucking incredible. So like, they're bullish on their content, or starting to be. They understand what they have, and they do have this beast of a system. It now comes down to the price point. And that's really the thing that we just don't know,
Yeah.
Kyle, talking about Smat Pack. Let's talk about the next story, sir.
What was that? Smat Pack?
Yeah, you got Smat Pack?
Oh God, John Fingers.
He's not gonna pocket Sky without Smat Pack.
You're just practicing for Boston. That's what you're doing right now.
I told you, Enrique, this is what's gonna happen.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Cyberpunk 2077 studio commits to a free Xbox Series X upgrade. CD Projekt Red has confirmed that Cyberpunk 2077 will get an Xbox Series X upgrade for free when it's ready. You should, quote, never be forced to purchase the same game twice or pay for upgrades, the developer said. In short, you can buy the Xbox One version in September, knowing that it'll see an improvement sometime after your Series X arrives. There will likely be numerous other games with similar upgrades. Ubisoft has already committed to making Rainbow Six Siege available for the Series X when the console launches, and while it hasn't confirmed the use of smart delivery, we've asked for clarification. It's also promising cross-generational play that suggests you'll be using the same core game. Sony likely isn't standing still either. The console giant said that backward compatibility will help transition gamers to the PS5, quote, faster and more seamlessly, quote, than in the past.
This was the most asked question on the show. From Jadis Von Middle, from Rigo, and from Mr. Moody, who asks, with the recent announcement from Microsoft that your Xbox One games can be upgraded to a Series X version for free, do you think Sony is forced to take the similar approach? I go to you, Kyle. Is Sony forced, or you think they're going to do this anyway?
That's the key word there, is forced. I don't know, forced. I just think it probably might have already been in their plans. Maybe I'm giving them too much leeway, but I keep thinking of like the year that PS4 reveal event, that Xbox did their E3 thing, and then PlayStation came out at E3 and just shut all the Xbox stuff down and just like, hey, here's how you share games, handing over a game. Here's the price point. Here's no always online. What was that? DRM? Am I remembering that correctly? So like, I could see Sony looking at this and having that be like another bomb drop moment, even though it won't be as big for whenever this gets revealed. Like, hey, Xbox has this, so do we. And we have this little tiny little thing more.
And we know that Ubisoft is already working on, and we could assume others as well, but they've been outwardly open about, hey, guess what? the next Siege. The team's working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Siege is being worked on for the PlayStation 5. Right? So like it's going to be, we talked about it last week. It's going to be platform between PS5, PS4, Xbox One and Series X. So like these things are already being worked on. And yeah, I do think this is Sony Xbox giving people what they want. And this is also Sony, if you could read through the article, seamless transition. Yeah, of course they're going to give you up-res games through their first-party lineup. And I bet some publishers will be greedy and ask for more money, but I think for the most part, you're going to see games just fall in line here. What do you think, Enrique?
I think...
Will Activision charge me for the 8K version of Call of Duty? You think so?
Yeah, they will. EA will charge you as well. But I think, look, I would like to see Sony offer this, because it's just, when I look at, like we talked about The Last of Us 2 a few minutes ago, like imagine a game like that you buy on the PlayStation 4, and then you hear that it's coming on PlayStation 5. I think there's something to be said to the fan base, your fan base, when you say, you know what, you've supported us all these years. We're going to do you a solid, right?
Yeah.
We're going to we're not going to make you purchase this game again. And I think that, I'm glad that CD Projekt Red came out and said this.
Because they're setting the standard.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that if other developers come on board, and Sony's kind of the odd man looking out, I'm going to take Sony to task, number one.
Oh, yeah, we will too, yeah.
But I think that this, to me, it's a very pro-friendly consumer move.
Yep.
And with Sony, why not do it? Look, you guys are making money off subscriptions. You talk about engagement. If you want to keep people in your ecosystem, keep your core base happy. Yeah. I think that's one way to do that. I think Microsoft doing this is their way of also doing that. Like, let's cater to our core. We want to keep them happy. We want to keep them engaged. We know that the bangers aren't going to come out right away because that takes time. But here's some really cool features that we're implementing on our next generation, hardware, and it's very forward thinking. We always think about next gen. We think about what next gen titles are going to be, but this is kind of a next generation type of service, if you will, or feature that current generation doesn't have. So I think Sony would be smart to say, hey, you know what, we're doing this too. We have admiration for our core fan base and for gamers. We know other developers are on board, like CD Projekt Red. We're going to do this too. Let's do it, right?
Yeah. And it'd be really cool if they do something like the One does with some of their games, where it's just like any first party PlayStation game you got will be up-res to the highest quality that we can give you at this point in time. Like, you plug in Last of Us Part 2 and it's 4K 60 FPS. You put in God of War, it's 4K 60 FPS, no checkerboarding bullshit. Because to me, like, all the 8K and the teraflops, that's great. I don't really give a shit because I'm not upgrading my TV anytime soon. I just bought it last year. So like 8K is such an afterthought to me, that both these consoles are coming out giving me 4K 60 FPS. Fuck yes, I'm on. Yeah, dude, let's go,
If you know what's smart about that too, Batbit, is that it actually entices people to buy this next gen console now.
Absolutely. Because my content's being supported. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I hear Jim Ryan say we got to get as many PlayStation 5s in the hands of our consumers as quickly as possible, well, Jim Ryan, this is one way you could do that.
Yeah. I can't wait. I personally can't wait till we know what both of these consoles are.
Yeah. So
we can start making that judgment call. Enrique, before we move on, just a Twitter poster last year. When do you think the PlayStation 5 is being revealed, and how? Do you think it's a state of play, or do you think it is a blog post? Do you think it's a whole event? Even with the coronavirus, they're just like, come aboard. When do you think that's going to happen?
I think that we'll probably hear something in. I would say I'm thinking probably April. Okay. Before the release of The Last of Us 2, I think that they'll do a state of play, and because I don't see Sony doing anything where they're going to rent out a space, right? Because that's going to cost money, and I just don't see them doing that. I think you could be look, Nintendo as critical as I was of their reveal of the Switch, like when I found out that they were going to reveal it, like on a what is it, Nintendo Direct?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy. And then what happens, right?
It works. It sells like gangbusters. Yeah.
Yeah. Nintendo said, hold my beer. So I think they're going to do a state of play. And I think that, they'll reveal some information. They'll show us what the console looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I don't think they're going to talk about teraflops, to be frank. I mean, why would you? I mean, right. Because I think that's going to kind of drive the narrative or put attention on them that they probably don't want. I mean, they know, right?
Yeah. They know.
I don't think they're afraid of Series X, and I'll say this, we had Optimus Code on, and Optimus, who kind of has his ears to the industry and has worked in the industry, has said on numerous occasions on BRAP and actually today on Twitter, it's like, rest assured that Sony isn't really concerned about Series X as they are about getting the message correct.
Right.
And appeasing their core fan base.
And I think that's the real message here, is that they want to make sure they have 100+ million people. They want to make sure that they're appealing to them first, getting the message clear to them of what this thing is, what it's all about. I think you're totally on the ball here, because they know how volatile this industry is going to be with all these competitors, because Stadia ain't out of the race yet. Amazon's coming in. Microsoft's making some big plays. They understand where they are, where they're behind, and that's why they need to craft a message that is more than just coherent, that is appealing to all gamers. And I think you're totally on the money here.
Yeah, and we know about bad messaging. We've seen examples of how that can go south.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. No, I mean, it makes or breaks a console. It makes or breaks a generation. When you're Sony and a third of your income comes from PlayStation, you want to make sure you get that shit right the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to go out there and say, get a second job.
Yeah, no. You don't want to get Kyle.
I've done that life. I don't want to go back.
Yeah, dude, too much. Kyle, this is a new story just for you.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited.
Go for it, man.
Eli Roth is making a Borderlands movie. This comes from Ryan Gilliam from Polygon. The Borderlands movie is officially happening again. Lionsgate originally announced a feature film based on the Borderlands video game franchise in 2015, and the studio announced on Thursday via press release that infamous horror director Eli Roth will helm the upcoming adaptation. Roth, alongside producers Avi Arad, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and Eric Feig, will helm the production using a new draft from writer Craig Mazin. Mazin recently won 2 Emmys for his work on HBO's Chernobyl. In a press release from Lionsgate, Roth has this to say about the project, quote, "I'm so excited to dive into the world of Borderlands, and I could not be doing it with a better script, producing team, and studio. I have a long, successful history with Lionsgate. I feel like we have grown up together and that everything in my directing career has led to a project of this scale and ambition. I look forward to bringing my own energy, ideas, and vision to be wild, fun, and endlessly creative world of the game. Randy Pitchford and everyone at Gearbox have been incredibly supportive of my ideas. It really feels like a perfect storm of creators coming together. We are out to make a new classic, one which the fans of the game will love, but also one which will find new audiences globally," end quote. Gearbox founder Randy Pitchford will also serve as an executive producer on the film, as well as Strauss Zelnick, chairman and CEO of Take-Two Interactive.
Okay, you're the Borderlands fan. Let's get this quick because we're running long in the tooth here. Kyle, are you on board? Because with this game, there's a lot of characters, right? Like, who do you choose?
Sure.
What class are they? Sure. You're not worried one bit.
When it comes to video game movies, I always have to be. It's just not a great track record in the grand scheme of things. But I'm super excited. When I think of Borderlands, what a Borderlands movie might look like, I think of Mad Max Fury Road. Just like chaotic, bright colors. Just badass action set pieces and with funny quips. Not that Mad Max had funny quips, but like just inject that into it. I don't fully trust Eli Roth.
Okay.
Just be totally.
Why is that?
His movies are hit or miss for me. Okay. But yeah, I'm just happy that it's getting a chance to be on the big screen.
He makes scary movies, and that's why I don't watch them.
Yeah.
I think if they mix Mad Max with Fury Road, or sorry, if they mix Mad Max the Fury Road with Deadpool, we're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
And with the writer of Chernobyl, I have faith that this thing's gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
Brap, do you have any strong feelings, or you want to just head to the next story?
I'm always on the fence when video games is movies.
Yeah.
Like it has. I always go back to the Mario Brothers movies for some reason.
Oh man.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah, like that's like I think that scarred me when it comes to like video games.
I once rented that
adaptations.
movie before a hurricane,
Yeah.
and that was the only thing I watched throughout the entire storm. I watched it like 8 times in a row.
And you're like, you know what? Let me brace the storm. Let me go outside and see what's up.
Exactly. Let me go outside and Jesus take me.
Yeah, I think Eli Roth is an interesting choice considering that he's done a lot of horror films. I think he did like Hostel and
Yep.
you know, it's just like
He's gonna get the gore down. That's
yeah,
for sure.
he'll get that down.
He'll probably get the cheesy jokes as well.
Yeah, I just you said Mad Max Fury Road. I hope it's not a clone of that movie.
Oh, for sure.
No, yeah.
You know, because then it's gonna like.
Also, how do you keep the cell shadedness? It's part of the appeal.
It better not be like Tank Girl the movie.
Oh, Christ.
I mean,
Remember that?
they got the producer that did Into the Spider-Verse. Are we just looking at an animated Borderlands feature-length film?
That wouldn't be bad, dude.
I think that would be cool. You capture that cell shading feeling of
Fuck
Borderlands.
me. We're making.
Yeah.
You know what? Call us up. I'll enter the Spider-Verse for this. You know me.
Yeah, let's do it.
God, I'm all right. All of a sudden,
Can we
I'm
get
very
Handsome
aroused.
Jack. Maybe is someone
Oh,
gonna play that?
please.
It's gonna be
He's
Ryan
gotta be the
Reynolds.
villain.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude, that that would be
Yes.
a great casting for Handsome
Yes.
Jack.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because they're both such or they play such great douchebags.
Yeah.
With that, okay, fine. You got me. I'm in on this Borderlands movie. Gotta go fast. Let's get into the next story because it's all about you.
Oh God, I hate it. Matt Kim from IGN writes, PS5 could collect your biofeedback via optional DualShock 5 attachment. Sony has filed for another patent, this time for an accessory that can attach to a PlayStation DualShock controller and sense the player's biometrics such as heart rate or even sweat. Sony is exploring a controller accessory that can collect select biofeedback from players, specifically heart rate measurements and electrodermal activity, aka sweat. Quote, there is a desire in computer gaming to provide an immersive and highly interactive experience for players so as to enhance the enjoyment of the player, says Sony in the patent description. This has become of particular interest with the increasing availability of head-mountable displays, HMDs, which are provided with the intention of fully immersing a player as in the in-game environment, end quote. The last part of the description is likely a reference to VR headsets, a field Sony dominates, at least in the console space. This means the biofeedback accessory could work specifically with VR games. Biofeedback is a field in gaming that companies have experimented with before. Common suggestions for biofeedback accessories include usage in horror games, where these tools can track when players are most scared. Health tools are another use for biofeedback, and Nintendo once announced the Wii Vitality sensor for exactly that purpose before shelving the project indefinitely.
Sony wants to see your goo.
The entire time I was reading that, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you see me holding back some laughter at the beginning. Because I can imagine you, Joe, sitting there with this attachment with the headband and you just doing the goo voice like, ew,
here are my secretions. Oh man, I feel bad for you. Listen, is this just me or this is actually a super dope patent? Because I feel like a lot of people are reading this wrong, that it was part of the controller. This is could be an attachment or part of a VR controller. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, this is pretty cool because when they're referencing things like horror games, like maybe the cam gets shakier, maybe your accuracy decreases, like that or things get scarier in the game depending on your heart rate. Like, that has me excited. And speaking of VR, like playing something like what is the Jump Sector or something like that, or Vector, I forget what it is. Sprint Vector, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like playing games like that, having it so that it tracks my heartbeat and maybe tells me through the game, hey Joe, you need to slow it down because you're a fat fuck, you're gonna have a heart attack. Like if that just pops up like ding, and I'm like, okay, I'm good to go. I need to take a break. Like I actually think that that's super beneficial. I don't know. Is that just me, Brap? Or does this rub you the wrong or right way?
I really don't have an opinion on it because I can't wrap my head around what they're going to use this for. It makes sense. I think I heard you say VR. Perhaps VR like like you're playing a horror game and you got to use a weapon, but your adrenaline's pumping and maybe you're not as accurate as you would be if you were more calm, and that affects your aim. So. Maybe it helps create a more immersive experience, like using VR. But the whole sweat thing, though, I was like, like what is that? Like I'm like, what is that for? Like, I can't imagine why they would want to know what my secretion levels are. Yeah. Like, how do you apply that to a game? I mean, I'm sure they have a reason behind it. I can't think of that reason personally, but
hey, listen,
I can't either.
Yeah.
Listen, if Jim Ryan wants my goo, I'll give him my goo.
Oh boy,
all of it, one burst. Kyle, what say you? What say you here?
I honestly don't care either way.
How dare you? I'm the only one excited about this.
But like the thing that would bum me out the most, and granted, this seems to be just an attachment, not on everything, but like. If your heart rate is fast, like your accuracy will be down, like in a first-person shooter or whatever. Yeah. My heart rate is just naturally fast, so like that would suck. Like it would affect my game, and not that I'm. Yeah, it just like if you want it there, that's great.
Have it an ability to take it on and off like that.
Yeah, all like right. I don't know. I think it'd be somewhat cool for the people that want it.
Now, here's a question from the Ultimate Gamer. They write in, do y'all think the PSVR is going to be a gangbuster next gen and continue to be the best VR in console gaming? I think, for me, the short answer, yes, because consoles are not going to have this thing.
Yep.
It's like PSVR versus Labo, right? Xbox, you said, they don't want to fuck with it, so I'm... Yeah. Is it going to do gangbusters? I think Sony is still playing with the tech and trying to get it right. They still don't know what this thing is. So I'm expecting PSVR 2 to be a PS2, like how Shu said, the original PSVR is a PS1 to them. That's what I think. I don't think it's going to be gangbusters, but I have faith that they're going to continue to support it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Kyle, let's get into some Flash news. And this one... I'll take the reins here, Kyle. You've been talking a lot. I've been talking a whole lot about goo. Flash news: Resident Evil 3 will be getting a playable demo soon. This comes from Benji Sales on Twitter. He says Resident Evil 3 will be getting a playable demo soon. I continue to be borderline shocked at some of the pre-order data I have seen on this title, especially things I'm hearing about digital sales. Expecting RE3 to be big at launch. Are we kind of all underselling how big RE3 is going to be? Because I saw did anybody see the gameplay demo of this?
Yes.
That just was revealed. Brap, did you see any of this?
Yes.
This looks fucking terrifying.
Yes.
This has me so in. Brap, are you big into RE3 or the RE series?
I don't like horror games,
Same.
but I do play the RE series. Like I will get down with Resident Evil, Silent Hill. This game looks, I mean,
out of this world, man.
Wow. Look, I just want praise be to Capcom. That's all I have to say.
Praise be.
Yes.
Kyle,
yes.
What say you, sir? Are you in? Because I know with RE2 you're like, nah.
Yeah, it's my RE2 thing. It's like I watched someone play it just because I thought it'd be too much of a scaredy cat to play it myself. But with this one, I think to me, and I've talked about it, like my experience with the original game, this seems more actiony than survival horror-y.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And that kind of has me excited for this game for sure.
I want to just tell you, you're the type of fan that ruins horror games.
Why?
Because that's what Capcom will then appeal to, and then it's just an action game with no horror.
Okay, fine. I won't buy it then.
Please don't.
Duh.
Please don't. Because you're going to end up doing... you're going to end up making a Deadpool 3 again, and nobody wants that.
He's going to skew their data.
No, this
shows that they like action games, so we're going to change the
No way. No.
Yeah.
Premise of RE.
Give it to me.
But dude, I'm like the smart dodge system is awesome. So you're not just fucked if a zombie comes too close to you. Like Nemesis fucking leaps at you. He runs at you. That is
how scary is that?
Terrifying. That's fucking terrifying. That looks like Mr. X is just like, I don't know, a guy with bad hemorrhoids who can't walk fast. Like, this is this is real danger, guys.
You know what's funny about Mr. X is like playing that game and thinking about my original experience when that game first came out. Like we didn't have cans, we didn't have headsets, right? Now I'm putting on the headset and I'm hearing this big motherfucker just walking out the boom, boom. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is not cool at all.
No,
not
get
cool.
me out. Yeah,
like.
Oh, so good.
Now, do you think this demo is going to be like the RE2 demo where there's a time limit?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I'm so on board with this. April cannot come soon enough. It's actually same day as my surgery, believe it or not.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pop a stitch being scared as shit when I'm playing this game.
Resident Evil 3 remake. It'll make you pop a stitch.
I'm gonna
put it on the box.
I'm gonna be high off of whatever drugs they got me in, right? And I'm just gonna be having lucid dreams of this fucking melty face guy. It's gonna be, God, it's gonna be terrifying. But gang, listen,
I can't wait, man. Guys, I can't even tell you how excited I am. Like that they brought this series back,
dude. Like we're getting Doom Eternal. We're getting RE. We're getting Final Fantasy VII. All these dormant franchises, or once dormant, or whatever, are reappearing in major ways. And that's the thing that gets me the most excited. And they're all being reinvented or reworked on in such ways that, I don't know, man. It's just
setting the bar for remakes in general.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
I really think Doom and RE are sleeper hits that when they come out, they're going to be big. But with that, gang, it comes to everybody's favorite time of the show. Enrique, are you holding on to something? Kyle, are you holding on to something?
Always.
Good. Prepare the drop. Each and every week, PlayStation drops the latest and greatest in all things games on to the PlayStation storefront. The only problem is that there are way too many awesome games to list. So, each host picks one game of their choosing and talks about why they're so excited. This week of the 25th, Kyle, what is your pick?
Bloodroots. In Bloodroots, the world is your weapon. Improvise and adapt to an ever-changing ballet of ultraviolence. In a bloody revenge quest across the Weird West, betrayed and left for dead, Mr. Wolf is hell-bent on finding his killer and enacting revenge, alone and vastly outnumbered. We both played this at PAX East last year. Yep. We both loved it. Yep. I am so excited it's finally here. I'm going to play the ever-loving shit out of this game.
Yep. Same. Oop, I almost dropped my mic. That's how excited I am for this game. My pick is 2 Point Hospital. The hit hospital building management sim comes to console for the first time. Design stunning hospitals, decorate them as you like, cure very unusual illnesses, and manage troublesome staff that you spread your budding healthcare organization across 2 Point County. Yeah, Medicaid for all. Just got hardcore.
I love that managed troublesome staff is part of the selling point.
First off, a hospital staff should not be troublesome. You want them to be very organized.
Exactly.
No, real talk, I hear nothing but really positive things about 2 Point Hospital, so cheers to them. Hopefully you get a good launch, you know? With that, Brap, did you find anything that struck your interest this week?
I gotta be honest with you, I did not.
That's fine. That's fair. We get to skip it.
I did not, because I started playing the Wolf Among Us.
Yes.
Yo, same. How you
really?
liking it?
I just I was like, why didn't I? How come I didn't play this game sooner?
Same. Same.
It's really good.
It's so good. Go get Wolf Among Us. It's like $5 and a nickel somewhere, anywhere. Get it. Support it. With that, we get to the final portion of the show. Andrew House's snail mail. Now, Again, everybody's questions have been on fire. You could write in your questions at PS Trophy Room on Twitter. You could send them in at the Casa de Bad Bit Discord server, or you could send your mail over to Andrew House, pen him a letter. I'll jump in. I'll steal his mail, possibly some of his, Turkish delights, whatever I get my hands on. This week, there are 3 pieces of mail that I stole from Andrew House, and yes, also his dog. Whatever, it was adorable. It's now mine. His name? Francis. Francis the dog. Sorry, her. It's her. Her Francis the dog. With
Francis House.
Francis House is mine, baby. Marcus O'Neill writes in, this one's directed at just me and Kyle. He says, what you looking forward to seeing and doing most at PAX East? Kyle, what are you the most excited to do at PAX East?
I mean, besides hanging out with you in person for a couple of days, I'm really looking forward to finally, hopefully, getting my hands on a Final Fantasy VII Remake because I want it and I need it. Also, they announced like the voice cast will be there for an autograph signing. That'd be cool to meet them. I'm excited. I already have a list of a couple of indies that I've seen trailers of that I'm excited to go check out. Okay. Just being around games and no excuse as to not play them, right? Yeah. They're there. Go play them. Like, that's what I'm excited about.
I'm excited about seeing all the cosplay. Seriously, like, people are freaking insane.
Oh, they're so good.
Like, anytime I see an Overwatch cosplay or Destiny cosplay, I'm just like stunned. Yeah, it's just like the amount of work and effort that gets put into these.
Over under.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see 5 Sam Porter bridges at PAX?
Oh, or at least, yeah.
At least 5. So you're going over or under?
I'm gonna say over. No, I'm gonna say under.
Under.
Be safe.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Maybe you see some Mads Mikkelsens, and I want them to go, where's my BB? where's my little BB? I love my little BB.
Oh my! By the way, that was my game of the year.
Yeah, same here. So same here. It was so good in such the weirdest ways. I'm also excited the most about meeting all my friends. We're going to be meeting the Iron Lords on Wednesday night. Like, we're going to be seeing the SDGC crew. Like, there's so many amazing people that we're going to get to say hi to. God.
Oh, so you'll be with Mr. Megadeth then?
Yeah. I mean, all of them.
Yeah. Megadeth used to be a panel member on BRAP.
Yeah, there's so many people that I'm super excited to meet. So, yeah. I'm on board, man. It's going to be a great time. So, with that, it's going to be my first PAX where I'm at panels. I think is the next big thing there.
Yeah, a lot of really cool panels that we're going to go see too as well.
Again, ton of coverage. Again, this Saturday we're going to record it, so it should be out on Sunday. For all patrons, whether you're at the $1 tier, the $100 tier, whatever tier you're at, you're going to get our coverage for PAX East. And if you're not a patron, don't worry. Next week's show, we will actually add that PAX coverage at the end of the show. So it's going to be one, probably 3-hour episode of the trophy. It's going to be wild. With that, let's get into our final 2 questions. Nate writes in, will Sony have a figurehead at the announcement like Jackie T have the PlayStation 4 announcement, or Sean Layden or Shuhei when they announce a PS5? Honestly, I want the nostalgia bump of bring back Kevin Butler. It's been long enough. I know a Kevin Butler. We will fly him out there wherever it is.
That'd be dope.
My word. Yeah. Do you want a figurehead again? I would like one.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I don't think we have to go back to people that have already done it. I wouldn't be. I love Assad Kizilbash, who's in Sony now. I think he'd be kind of cool to do it.
Yeah.
Realistically, it probably will be Mark Cerny again.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Mark Cerny. I've heard a lot of shit being tossed our way by our friends over at Microsoft. I would like to tell you, Phil Spencer, talk shit, get shot. End of discussion.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
Skeet, skeet, skeet. Well, we're getting that.
Mark Cerny impersonation, by the way.
Let's do it. Hypecaster writes in, does Sony have, and this is the final question of the night, does Sony have any long dormant IP up their sleeve that will make waves during the next gen launch? Ooh. Okay, it's right to you, Enrique. You said something to Antonio that I want you to repeat for everybody here. What's a dormant IP that they could bring out?
Siphon Filter.
Hell yeah.
Do it.
Hell yes.
God, yes. Kyle, what about you?
I mean, broken record, Resistance. Give it to me now.
Good call.
Also, I just had another. Oh, Infamous. I think that would come back in a big way. Like Siphon Filter, sure. I would love. I'm trying to think of some old school RPGs.
You know, I'm thinking of a game right now off the top of my head. It's been 1,799 days since we've had the original Bloodborne launched. How amazing would it be after 1,799 days, we get that announcement of Bloodborne 2? I think it'd be beautiful. I think it's what gamers want. Give it to us.
You think we'll get it?
Honestly, heads will roll if I don't.
You know, I always feel like Sony's really good at like doing things for their base.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they rolled out a trailer like that, people would lose their shit.
I would lose my shit. Obviously. I think about it, and I get goosebumps. I'm just like, let's go.
No, but I feel like they do that, and people are like, "Oh my god!" Like, I don't know. I hope that happens. It's one of the best games this generation.
Game of the generation. Arguably.
I don't know about that.
I mean, listen, just agree with me because Kyle always said, "It's the worst game ever." It's game of the generation. Anyway, with that, before we go, each and every month, our intern Phil Spencer gives me a list of names to read of all the patrons who support us at any tier. So let's first and foremost start with our silver tier members: Ray Martinez, Jonathan Brown. Thank you both so very much. Our bronze tier: Max Deckersmith, Todd Oxtra, Matthew, Andrew Farman, Catherine, gotcha, Aaron Doherty, Marcus O'Neill, the most famous Seamus I've ever met in my entire life, Sean Capri, our new tier members: Trevor Starkey, Isaiah Osuna, Billy Laporta, Timothy Ulf, Riboflavins, Garen Bland, Stephen Fontana, Nathan McErney, Antonio, Alex Van Aken, Brendan Myers, Luke Lohr, and Adam Kosniak. I think I got everybody's name right. I think I nailed it. Enrique, where can they find you, sir?
Well, I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. This has been a blast. I've had, seriously, what a wonderful time. And
thank you, man.
It's nice to talk about video games and, it not divulge into yelling and fanboy stuff.
I've only had to punch Kyle 4 times, right?
Hold on, sir.
You shut your mouth, it would be a 5th.
I mean, there was one crazy thing that I heard was the whole that Bloodborne is game of the generation. Right. But
some facts are really hard to handle. I get it.
On that note, thank you again, gentlemen. Seriously, it's been a blast. And anyone who's if you guys are looking for a insightful video game podcast on YouTube, you can come check out the Basement Radio Arcade podcast. We broadcast live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. And every once in a while, I'll do my Brap rants. Those kind of just drop at the last minute. There's no rhyme or reason behind it. It's just when I'm feeling a rant coming on, switch on the live button and just go live and start ranting away. So,
there you go.
But yeah, definitely check us out on YouTube. And if you want to give me a follow on Twitter, follow us at Brap_podcast. So thank you again. I appreciate being on and had a blast. Thank you guys.
Thank you. And thank you for coming on. And again, there will be a link to his channel in the description. Enrique, you are amazingly insightful. So thank you so much. Kyle.
Yes.
Go out and pimp your stuff, sir.
Yeah, I like I end every episode. I like to pimp myself. WhoDatNinja73 on Twitter and on PSN. My show all about the kind of funny community called Best Friends Talk Funny at BFS Talk Funny on Twitter. And if you're at PAX East, come say hi, give me a hug, give Joe a hug if he wants it. I don't know. I don't want to force that on Joe.
Oh, it's always consensual. Just come up and hug me. It's fine.
Yeah. Be at PAX East this week. You can look at my Twitter or the Kinda NYC on Twitter to see where we're at, what panels we're going to be at, and let's just have a great old time.
PAX East, man. It's going to be nuts. You can find me over at Mr. Badbit. You can find the show Twitter at PS Trophy Room on Twitter, Mr. Badbit on Twitter. You can find the show at youtube.com/badbitgames. You can find the show on iTunes. If you could rate us 5 stars, that'd be great. We read it out here on the show. And yeah, any RSS feed service you see, so like Spotify, Google Podcasts, whatever it is, go out there, subscribe to us. It really helps the show grow. So with all that said, with all that out of the way, keep hunting and keep playing PlayStation.